Good morning, everybody. Might be the only applause today, huh? All right. Well, hey, here we are having our town hall here in Chico. It's a nice bright morning here, and importantly, it's very cool right now. So I'm expecting 104, 105 degrees this afternoon. So
Get the weather.
it's nice to be out and about. So thank you for joining us. Thanks for joining us. So you're welcome. It's been a half a year so far. Very, very incredibly busy here with the transition. But you know what? If we want to have a productive discussion, it needs to be civil, right? And so, whoever has the microphone, whether it's me or it's going to be somebody making the comments or making the questions, why don't we conduct ourselves in a way where one person at a time gets to speak, unlike
like Trump.
And that'll work a heck of a lot better. So anyway, here we go. So I'm pleased to be able to represent here the 1st District of Northern California, and it has been a heck of a start to the not quite now new year, but we're about 8 months into the new administration, and I think we have a lot to be grateful for. As Americans, hey man, it's your time, okay? It's your time. Right. 90 minutes is what we get, so if you guys want to waste it, go ahead. So, that said, we have a lot to be grateful for as Americans, and I think the direction we're seeing our economy going, our border being secure, which what that means. With the results of it stopping gang activity coming across the border. I'll get it out one sentence at a time, and then we can get your comments and questions here. So, you can't contain yourselves. I don't know, man. So, anyway, secure border. Makes a lot of difference as far as the crime rate and everything across the crime in our communities and what that means for the violence against our people. You are the violence! We're doing violence, right? We're doing violence. So when we have firm law enforcement and we follow the law, it's going to be when the law was enforced, we didn't need comprehensive immigration reform. We just needed to enforce the laws of the books and strengthen the barrier to our border and allow people that want to come across. We're a country that embraces legal immigration.
You made your money on their back!
Anyway, and so we're seeing good results there. Same inflation is going to make their costs more in line. We have much to do still on the cost of energy. Energy, of course, is the key to the economy. And so I've, in my positions here, to let you know, I work on 3 committees in Congress. One is the Agricultural Committee, one is the Natural Resources Committee, and one is the Transportation Infrastructure Committee. And I've been named chairman of the subcommittee on forestry, which is very important. Obviously, you remember the campfire last year, fire after fire after fire. We're trying to get headway on forest policies, so our communities are safe, our forests are safe, and we don't lose so much of our landscape to unnecessarily horrendous fire. So with that also, I was named the chairman of the Western Caucus, which will advance these issues taking part. So the Western Caucus indeed stands up for energy, for forestry, for mining, all of the things that make a strong economy. Because we should produce it here in this country. We should build it here, we should make it here, we should mine it here. That means strong economy, it means strong jobs, it means good paying jobs that happen right here in this country, not China or somewhere else. So, importantly to our constituents right here, will you pipe down, please? You can knock it out. Record for everybody else, okay? Record for everybody else. So, importantly, what we saw after the campfire in Paradise, the horrific devastation was tens of thousands of homes and business lost, and the loss of life, but also the reimbursement that is coming from insurance companies, but also the PG&E settlement. For some reason, PG&E, that settlement, IRS deemed that to be a taxable event, so they worked very hard for enforcing should have been. To get their tax relief,
Release the Epstein files! Release them!
Those tax
now!
that get paid to them are being sent out now. So we got the result on that. So we're very, very pleased to help the people with the Paradise and Ridge area that got caught in that IRS tax relief. So we have efforts to make that reform permanent because it affects areas like and other disasters. Shouldn't have to pay taxes on that. So, in general, on forestry, we're doing much to get more of our federal land cleaned out in order to be more effective. So we don't have these horrendous fires that we got so many in our backyard. Fix our forest act, new piece of legislation. Now, in the most recent budget reconciliation bill, the court sort of required to increase the pace and scale of the work on this land. Okay? So, good work being done on forestry. We need to speed up the pace and scale. We'll get the good work done over on the Mendocino recently, getting them out there. So, on
Shut up and listen! Question!
the topic that's been very, very interesting to a lot of people has to do with Medicaid/Medi-Cal here in California.
What's left of it?
And so, the work done in the big bill was to try and in those reforms, guess what? I like what you in the news, I like what you hear from Chuck Schumer again. It doesn't cut a single dollar for people who qualify.
Liar!
Ask Gavin Newsom why he wants $12.5 billion goes to the people who are already citizens of the There's $50 billion to help our local hospitals. You know, hospitals we don't want anybody left behind. We don't want anybody to be harmed by the effort. Indeed, we want to focus money on those folks that actually do qualify, and that will be a bigger win for them. We want to get after the waste and the fraud you find in any of these programs. 2.8 million people potentially enrolled that are not actually eligible for it. So that hurts the people who are eligible for it. When I come back to again in California, it's like the drill holes in the bucket that the federal government tries to put the dollars in to help with it. It's not great for things like that. So it doesn't help. It doesn't help. We'll talk about SNAP real quick, and then we'll go to the questions and comments. So, SNAP used to be known as the food stamp program. SNAP is a very important program for many people in North State. And so, may not know that spending on the SNAP program has gone up from 2019 from $60 billion to $110 billion. So what we were looking at is like, all right, how do we make the program go farther towards the people that need it, the people that would actually utilize it properly? And so that means no SNAP dollars for illegal immigrants.
Start with you, pal.
And for the folks that are able-bodied, they're required to have.
How's your tax cut?
And what we're talking able-bodied is certain self-able-bodied. Able-bodied is those without dependents. Okay, this is a single person. Here's how you get stuff is by yelling. Here's how you get stuff is by yelling. That's not how you get stuff. So, the requirement for the able-bodied person without dependents have to work at least 20 hours a week or be involved in service. That would be helpful. Otherwise, you don't get to be on it forever. Okay, you get 90 days, you have to work overtime. Most people have.
You don't work.
Most do. At some point. And so that supports the taxpayers in that sense. So that was an important reform that was able to happen within the SNAP. Indeed, nobody that needs it or is eligible is in the way. That said, probably nothing to go from there. So let's go with that. Let's go to the first bill. Questions over here?
Okay. Okay, so the way this is going to work well, and the way we're going to get through all of these people, is that you're going to use your red signs and not waste all their time yelling. So if it's an answer you don't like, it's an answer you don't like, that's okay. Or a question you don't like, that's okay too. But in order to get through it, it'll be 2 minutes over there, so you have 2 comments. You'll have a question and an answer, back to 2 comments. So you can go to both lines, but I kind of doubt you'll get through both. Okay? Go ahead and do your.
My name is Kimberly Candela. I am one of your constituents. So too are over 10,000 people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, all who live in your district. They rely upon Medicaid, aka Medi-Cal dollars, not just for health care, but for a myriad of supports and services. My brother is one of them. That so-called big beautiful bill that you voted for is going to take money from folks like them who need it the most and give it to who? To some of the people who need it the least, the most wealthy, like you. You and your party are actively hurting people with disabilities, people of color, queer folks, immigrants, veterans, people who are hungry, people without shelter, children experiencing poverty. That's just a partial list. You will deny all of this. We know the truth. We see you, we know what you've done, we vote, and we will hold you accountable.
Get your ass out!
Any minutes, Tommy?
Well, let's getting a lot right straight from.
No, we're not. No answer. Sorry, that I didn't tell you right. That's comment side.
Okay, thanks for the comment.
Hello, Jim Bedford. I'm from Glenn County, and I agree with everything that was just shared. Also here, concern for America's democracy. It seems that we're becoming more of an autocratic and dictatorship type of government. Landlords are we turned away from our allies that worked with us, supported us, and fought with us during World War I, II, and have been the backbone of our country, and even what we said, it's done, fought for. It seems now that we are aligning with dictators and communists, Putin, Kim Jong-un. Those are the types of allies that the current president is aligning himself with. And unfortunately, that position is shake your head and deny it, Doug. It's true.
That's wrong.
It's true.
What are we going to
maintain the values that are important to this country.
Okay, over to the question side.
Hello, Congressman Doug LaMalfa. My name is Matthew Hilliard. I'm a child and youth social worker from Siskiyou County. I am very concerned about the implication of the Medicaid cuts and the tough budget bill and the closure of our rural hospitals and our rural community health clinics. There are at least 6 hospitals in this district that are at risk of closing, including Fairchild in Wairika, in Siskiyou, as well as throughout this district. These facilities are vital to our disabled and our working class people. How could you support a bill that is going to devastate our already fragile infrastructure?
First of all, no such bill passed. We are trying to support rural health care.
Hey guys, this is the thing. If we're gonna spend the next hour just yelling over each other, then there's no point in all these people standing here. So let him answer. He took the time to stand here and ask the question. Let him have his answer.
We've been working very hard to help our rural hospitals as far as there's an element of the reconciliation bill that has $50 billion directly to aid the reconciliation bill that Joe Now, the bureaucracy involved sometimes. We're trying to help the Glenn Medical Center, for example, who ran into a problem when the last end of the Biden administration, they were trying to critical access hospital over there in Fleck, okay? So is the one in Calusa, but it depends which map you use and how many miles apart they are. If it's within 35 miles, then they're gonna make them not eligible anymore. So we're battling through that decision a while back to make it where they wouldn't no longer receive one. They've been a critical access hospital for over 2 decades, and they can't just have that pulled out from underneath them. And so for the rest of them that we're talking about, yes, it's difficult in rural America because of the cost of doing business is so high for them and the lower volume of people. So that's what we have built in the bill, acknowledging that. And the Medicaid aspect, the Medi-Cal, there is no cut to the people themselves. It is attempting to have it be focused on the people that should be eligible. The state of California is causing much problems. They expect us to keep filling the well there. Well, they waste dollars on bureaucracy. I talked about off-padding and go to the hospital. $4.5 billion for legal evidence.
Go ahead. Over to your side. This is a comment, so please let him make it. Lady that's yelling, we can stop now. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Chuck Reynolds. I'm the former mayor of Warrenville and current council member. And we actually really appreciate you, Congressman. And thank you for having experience serving in office. I'll tell you, this is a typical crowd facing 99% of the opinion, not the 1% of the information. And 1% is correct. My son got up and spoke, my 16-year-old son, at your town hall 8 years ago. And I think it's the same people, but it was the same rude behavior. And I apologize after
Next comment? Comment number 2.
I'd like to see him. Thank you. Last time I was here was 8 years ago. And, you know, if you met with us more often, we might not have to yell out our And I have actually read the 900-page bill. Yeah. Information from Fox News, and I encourage you to read it. You know your history, but you have taken money out of poor people's pockets and bought Gestapos. We have Gestapos arresting American citizens without due process. You need to stop that.
Okay, and now we have a 30-second question, and it'd be nice if you all, just let the lady ask it.
Hi, Dougie. I'm Nancy Charpentier from Beaver City. I want to know why you support the big orange man and his big ugly bill and voted for it, and why you support the January 6th people being targeted after they did that to our Capitol, and you lied about the $50 billion for cuts. That was a Clinton thing. It was for people to go to work for 2 years, and then they were going to get kicked off of aid after 5 years. That was that $50 billion, and Clinton initiated that.
Interestingly, that's a brand new element of this bill, it's appropriation of this bill. Clinton, that's what, how many years ago, 25 years ago? So this is part of that. So what was the part of your question?
January 6th? January 6th. Don't read the question I got.
You said someone insulted about the big orange man, that's productive. Well, I was in the room on January 6th. That chapter's not over with, is what really went on that day.
What happened, Doug?
A lot of people were, put that finger down, that's really important. There were people that basically were criminals involved, so I think we need to
And over to the comments. There you go.
Small world.
Thank you, Congressman Doug LaMalfa, for being here today. My name is Katie Hawley, and I am Chico City Council representative. Thank you on behalf of my constituents for being here. I think it's really important that our elected officials are as public facing as possible. I can tell you, if Chico City Council was a public event only once every 8 years, I think we would have a room exactly like this. And to your constituents, I believe the more civil these discussions will be. The less frequently you show up and have town halls like this, I believe that the harder it will be to facilitate productive conversations.
Thank you.
First off, anybody that voted for the big bullshit bill.
watch your language, please, it's a public event.
Needs to go. Everybody that believes that ICE should just be snatching people off the street without due process of law needs to go. And why didn't they think about taking all the people out of the prisons who have had due process, who have been found guilty, and ship them off? There is a topic of people in jail.
Newsom's doing a fine job of letting people out as it is.
Speak for yourself, Doug. Newsom is part of a bunch of January 6th insurrectionists. Answer the question.
Okay, we have a question on this side. Whoops, hold on, false start. New start. Good?
I'm Brian Galsky. As a disabled veteran with PTSD, I was referred to mental health support to community care because there are no openings for a therapist at Chico VA. I was then unable to find a therapist in our community that accepted community care and who supported a deal, was equipped to deal with veteran trauma. My community care takes me to San Rafael once a week to see a sacred therapist there. Since then, since the new administration, the whole behavioral health team has quit at the Chico VA. Veterans can be hard to treat. I'm gonna get another 20 seconds, please, thank you. And people tend to give up on us because they don't understand how to address our unique challenges. This is regarding the privatization of the VA. My question is, how are you going to ensure that there are professionals here equipped to treat us with the impact of the medical system here already? How are you going to support me when the support isn't out there?
Thank you. First of all, thank you for serving us and for what you've had to deal with.
You don't care!
So, with that, and the lady right there holding the mic, we've done plenty of battle trying to have the VA be accountable to people and answer their questions and get their appointments and not cancel their appointments, all these things. The Chico VA, we've actually had to correct issues recently on how it's operated. Not all, there's a lot of great people there, but there's also a couple of bad apples. With that kind of leadership, that means the program isn't going to run as well. And so, the cost, VA, thank you. VA funding is not being cut, it's continues to increase. And so, we want the dollars to get where they're going to be helpful. And so, when you're talking about the mental health program, you shouldn't have to be going all the way to Stanford where it fell, for one, that's crazy. And so our veterans need to have more people involved. That's why, yes, and having to load up on a bus at 4 a.m. if you're up in Wairika or what have you to go down, then find out once in a while maybe your appointment's been canceled, there's no accountability there. We've done a lot of work trying to make the VA centers much more accountable and nice to the veterans, for example. Okay, good. Well, I can't answer all your question on this specifically. Please work with us. But bottom line, what we're talking about, we want, it basically comes down to federal dollars being effective to getting to where it needs to be.
Tax the rich!
All right. Let you go. Contact us, please. Contact. Sir, contact one of our offices and we will look more closely at your case
Okay, we have comments on your side, David.
Hi, my name is Jessica Gianola, and I have many concerns, but one of the biggest ones for our area is the cuts to the Medicaid, SNAP, housing vouchers. We have high rates of poverty in our area. People depend on services to help keep them alive. When we have a lack of health care, that means illnesses will increase in our area. That impacts everyone. And with the hospitals leading to shutdowns, potential shutdowns because of loss of revenue, loss of reimbursement, that they're gone, and we're all sick. And there's this facade that we're not working hard enough, and that's why we're trying to get free benefits. And everyone's working as hard as they can, even to help their neighbors survive. We have countless numbers of homeless folks, and then we see the president on the TV saying he's going to send the FBI after them to put them where? Because these cuts are only going to increase the homeless population and illness. And yeah, please support our Constitution in 5 seconds. But there's so much to be done. Please stand for the people and Constitution, not the president.
Next comment? And we have another comment on the other side there.
Hi, thank you for being here today. My name is Cynthia Perrine. I'm a resident of Chico. I appreciate the tradition of the flag salute and presentation of colors. In this space, it is respectful to include a land acknowledgement by a tribal representative. With time limitations and given many voices have stewarded the land in your district since time immemorial, my comment is that this land under our feet, originally occupied by the first people of this area, the Mechoopda, and recognizes their distinctive spiritual relationship with this land, the flora, the fauna, and the waters that run through it, remain. We are humbled to share stewardship of these sacred lands that since time immemorial have sustained the truth of people and continue to do so today. Thank you.
Okay, we have a question on that side.
Hello, folks. My name is Mark Daly. I'm a staunch Democrat. Doug, I'd like to thank you for making the effort to be here today. We appreciate it. Now, I'm going to let you off the hook and ask a question of this awesome crowd. If you think that loud interrupting is productive, no, is counterproductive, can you hold up your green signs?
I appreciate that, thank you. A civil discussion goes a lot farther towards getting resolved. This is that time. So, even previous town halls that have been raucous, we have pulled things from that, but we've actually put in as part of elements of bills that come from our So a productive conversation helps us to shape the legislation, and that has come from town halls before. And so
Why don't you listen?
we do them like this, or the telephone town halls that we have frequently as well. We have many venues to receive your information on that, and we tabulate that, and we look and see what people are thinking on that, and then we legislate in this republic that we have. So, okay.
I'm Jennifer Teague from Chico. As you know, one of the duties of Congress is to provide governmental oversight to ensure that no one branch of government abuses power. The three branches of government, legislative, executive, and judicial, are at the heart of our democratic system. It was designed to prevent concentration of power in any one branch. I'm concerned that the Republican Congress is no longer doing their job of overseeing the abuse of the executive branch. This president is not working for the American people, but is seeking revenge, power, and financial gain for himself. He allowed those to cut departments and agencies that have been approved in serving Americans and our friends as a beacon of hope and trust. He has allowed a chainsaw instead of a surgical knife to cut those services. He uses keywords like climate change, diversity, equity, inclusion, DEI, social, anyway, when he, I'm sorry, they're cutting me off, but in revenge for the criminal acts of the president, he has fired seasoned nonpartisan government employees for merely having any association to one of those words or with one of his criminal acts like January 6th. I ask you to please take your job seriously and stop this president's acts of destruction and to our democracy and the enriching of its wealth. One last thing I wanted to say.
My name is Sherry Foley from Chico, and I am a retired Air Force veteran, disabled. My question, or the context is very much like that woman was just talking about, in that if I, as a military person, had done an iota of what Donald Trump has done against the Constitution of the United States, I would have been court-martialed. So my question to you is, what are you doing to maintain that separation of power between the Supreme Court, Congress, and the White House?
That's a good and important question. We in the U.S. House and the Senate need to assert our portion of that society. And much power is vested in the executive branch. We've seen that grow over the years and years with the executive orders. The Biden era set for example. a chance to sign himself. So Congress provides oversight, and for example, with the CRAs, as they're called, the Congressional Review Act, that can rein back actions that are done by an executive branch. For example, we have a list here where they listed the long-fin smelt because he had another engagement on it. Electric car mandates that support the farm people. We're going to do those. Spending bills start in the U.S. House. So whatever the White House, whoever's running it, wants, it still has to start with the U.S. House of Representatives. Those are the closest to the people. The ones that are out there must do all the time. So they're the ones. So that's how we assert that portion of the checks and balances on that. We need to bring that to making sure that the Congress, the closest to the people, has that power. We don't want executive branch or judicial branch to run the checks. So I appreciate that concern. It is something definitely on our process.
Ignoring all of them.
Oversight committee hearings and later legislation. Thank you.
We have a comment on the other side.
Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be here. My name is Sierra Haskins, and I am a small business owner here in town. I am the daughter of 2 vets. I was a military spouse, and I'm the mother of 2 3 enlisted. On behalf of my dad is a disabled vet, and he actually has gotten great care from the VA lately. My middle son is also a disabled vet, and he has gotten amazing care. And my youngest son, who's 20, asked me to be here today to thank you for everything that you're doing. And I understand that we have to watch out for our disabled vets. My family is all military and law enforcement, so I understand firsthand watching my son and my dad go through what they've been through. But when we have service members that are posting colors, we can clap for a disabled veteran walking back down who's upset, but then we boo our service members who are posting colors that fought for the right to boo. So please keep in mind that both sides, you're going to support one, you have to support the other too. So thank you for being here, and we appreciate it, and my family, we appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Alexis Nielsen, and although I would argue that what is happening in Gaza is absolutely a genocide, I'm going to keep it local here, thank you. I'm going to keep it local here and say that the defunding happening in the big beautiful bill to PBS and NPR is going to be detrimental to both people and children in the United States. I learned to read with the help of Sesame Street, and NPR is one of the few national news organizations that is willing to report on what's happening in rural communities, and that this defunding is going to be detrimental to people's knowledge of what is happening here, what is happening across the world in rural communities, and PBS is going to harm the constituents' children's ability to learn and grow through supplemental education, because we all know that the Department of Education is not being funded enough, and that PBS is needed and necessary to help children.
Hello, you have taken approximately $37,000 from the pro-Israel lobby and have voted to give them weapons every time they pass. The U.S. has given Israel around $22.76 billion in military aid up to this point, since October 2023. How can you justify this spending while they committed genocide and starved children? There are 18,500 confirmed dead kids, averaging 28 a day. If all it takes is $37,000 to get you to support and enable a genocide, why should we trust that you have our best interests at heart? You should resign in shame and will be remembered for supporting a modern-day Holocaust and the killing and starvation of innocent children.
What do you think about the innocent Israelis that were attacked? October 7th, merely enjoying a festival. brought by Hamas, who builds their,
And you want an answer?
I still have 90 seconds, right? So, on the Israel thing, on that situation, Israel would like to peacefully coexist over there. They're surrounded. And some of the basic works we've got at the last time is that Abraham Accords, bringing countries that have adversaries together. That's a very positive thing. So I guess it comes down to, do you believe Israel has a right to exist or not? Hamas doesn't believe so. Hezbollah doesn't believe so. Many terrorist factions don't believe so. So that's why I support the beacon. But let's lay that right at the feet of Hamas. If Hamas was not launching missiles from schools, from mosques, churches, the whole thing, indiscriminately launching missiles at innocent Israelis, it wouldn't be happening. It could be done in minutes.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Gina Bax, and I am a proud legal immigrant who came to this country almost 30 years ago after waiting my turn for 3 years in my own country. I have 5 amazing children, and I have taught them how to love and respect America, the country that gave us the opportunity to live our own American dream. Like many Hispanics, I believe in strong family values, freedom of speech, and the right of our children to a quality education. That means focusing on academics, reading, writing, math, history, not teaching sex in schools. Those conversations belong at home with parents. So I want to thank you for continuing to defend parental rights, even when you are mocked and yelled at by the very people shouting freedom of speech. And to those doing the yelling, I suggest you get a passport and travel. You will see the grass is no greener on the other side. America is still the greatest country in the world.
Hello, my name is Doug LaMalfa. I'm a retired science educator, and I want a congressional representative that respects the Constitution. Who stands up for due process for everyone, who does not enable the destruction of the Department of Education, the National Institutes of Health, the Centers for Disease Control, the National Oceanographic Atmospheric Association, data from the National Weather Service. These things are critical to our existence. Data, science is knowledge, and we need to respect that, not cover it up, not change the truth. Thomas Jefferson said that a well-educated population is necessary for a democracy, and we are experiencing the destruction of the Department of Education, bribes, extortions on universities, on law firms, on media, and practicing free speech, and that's got to stop.
Okay, the question over here, Martha. Hi, I'm Molly Tompkins of Forest Ranch. I'm an IHSS provider. I care full-time for my severely disabled adult daughter, who I adopted from foster care, for the rest of my life. I've also taken in my severely disabled nephew when he had nowhere to go. How will you specifically ensure that IHSS and regional centers are fully funded with the budget cuts to Medicaid so that my family and others like us can survive? It's a matter of life and death for my family.
There's not cuts for Medicaid Medicare. The focus is then on the illegal immigrants.
Did you even read the bill, Doug?
Federal tax tax dollars that you pay will fund that program, all right? The cuts you're talking about are not happening because of this bill. Now, you need to also look at the responsibility of the state of California to be efficient with those dollars as well. Did I say that? No, I didn't say that. We will continue through our legislative process and through the appropriations process to make sure that the funding flies. Not on that. We did not vote to cut that. We did not vote to cut that. You need better information on that. That's not true. Not true. They are being funded. They are being funded.
Comments on your
God bless
side?
you. You're a good workman. Thank you for helping us, folks.
I want to associate myself with an earlier comment regarding separation of powers and the importance of the three branches of government doing their jobs. And I appreciate that you said that Congress should legislate and stand up against the executive branch. I'm concerned specifically about the whole tariff policy. Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution talks about the power of Congress to regulate foreign trade. It doesn't say anything about the president unilaterally creating tariffs, willy-nilly, 1 day 10%, 1 day 145%. Abuse of power, I think, is really dangerous for our businesses. It's also very bad for our relations with allies. I mean, for instance, Canada, the most inoffensive country in the world, and we're treating them very poorly, and we shouldn't do that. Thank you.
I want to talk to you about a local problem, the fire victims trust. You mentioned the campfire in Paradise in 2018. There's a lot of people that are really suffering because of what's happened with PG&E, the Fire Victims Trust, Judge Montali, and the United States Bankruptcy Court, his actions. And it's interesting, in 2020, PG&E filed bankruptcy. In 2023 and 2024, they had record profits. To the point of 2024, the profits were $2.87 billion.
Yeah. California allowed it.
I think some political pressure from your position needs to be applied to protect the people that are living in your backyard where this happens. The Fire was written to protect PG&E in bankruptcy. It was written by people who wear three-piece suits. Doug LaMalfa, the farmer, could not understand that information, just like a common man like myself. We're overwhelmed with what's happening and how we're being neglected and ignored. We've tried this offshore approach, and I think some people are tired of that. I am personally really tired of it. I lost everything. 2,000 people lost everything. All we want now is we were given a contract, a determination notice by the Fire Victims Trust of what they were going to give us. There was no disclaimer that said you may not receive all of this. People signed that, people signed that as a contract that they thought they could take to the bank, just like you take the rice check to the bank.
Okay, we have a question over here.
Okay, and this is all I'm saying is that 54 months after we signed those determination notices, 54 months was when we were told you're not going to get 100%, you should have never expected 100%. There was no warning notice on those determination notices that came from the U.S. Bankruptcy Court saying we were not going to get 100% of what they were telling us. So now we're faced with a 30% deficit. And that's what needs to have some political horsepower put to it. PG&E could afford to pay us all. If not, we should be protected under the 6th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution and equal protection. Because people are not being treated the same. The Dixie Park people are not being treated the same. And that's not a national problem, Mr. LaMalfa. That's a California problem because the legislation was passed. But it needs your help. These are people in your backyard.
Okay, we have a question on the side.
Hi Doug, my name's Cecilia, I'm a constituent from Chico. Called your office every day since the big beautiful bill. Haven't gotten a response, of course. We
question a few times today, so I'm going to be a little bit more specific. How do you justify voting yes on the big ugly bill, knowing that 43% of your constituents, the highest of any California congressional district, receive Medicaid and other government assistance? I would also like to know how you plan to make up for the hospital's deficit because of the lack of payment, so the burden doesn't land on the average taxpayer. Please only discuss your views on the Medicaid part of this bill, no other parts because of limited time.
Okay, so this bill is not going to be the be-all, end-all on the whole Medicaid question. This had a portion that had to do with the fiscal under the budget reconciliation rules, and so it's not the end of the discussion. It's not the end of the legislation we'll be doing on it. On this particular aspect, it was focused on to try to find the savings on the portion of Medicaid that should not be doing illegal immigrants getting and the able-bodied that was been really good complete plans, and so when we're talking about people that really do need it and are eligible under the program, they're not being cut. And the hospital, we do need to talk about the vacuum in Sacramento where they're taking $12.5 billion. That's part of the equation. California adjudicates the money that comes from the federal government, and it's kind of out of our hands once that money's there. So, Sacramento, on how they're performing as well, because it's a two-step process. We want the dollars to reach the people that need it, the people that are truly eligible for it, and not all the waste that's been going on. So, it would be much more successful if that $12.5 billion was in the pool for the people that are supposed to be eligible for it. They'd be a lot better off. At some point, it can't be just an endless stream of dollars from the federal government that is accountable to the state government.
Okay, good comments on the other side. Okay, thanks, Cecilia. Off you go.
Hello. Thank you, Doug. I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be here. I also want to thank the gentleman earlier who said that we need to be civil and be heard so we can keep having these things. One thing I'd like to say is that for any of you, harness this energy together, both sides of the aisle, please, to work on getting more mental health treatment facilities and drug treatment facilities. There has been dollars applied in ways under both parties that people don't appreciate or like. But what we can do is try to put down the hostility and harness this incredible energy you have. I don't necessarily agree with all of you here today, and maybe not many at all, but I will say this. I'm willing to work with whoever is willing to work to do the right thing and to communicate with Doug's office. My family recently needed help with a Social Security situation. Doug and his office stepped right up immediately to help. I have a family member who is a veteran who got very prompt assistance. Chico is fabulous. There was someone at the Butte County Guest Office who's fabulous. Thank you for taking care of our veterans. When we can't come together and honor veterans walking down the aisle, and we do that, where are we as a good people? All right, that's it. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. LaMalfa, my question's a local question. Lake Madrone Water District in Berry Creek needs your assistance. The Army Corps of Engineers and the Regional Water Quality Control Board have railroaded the district and stopped the current sediment removal project to restore the lake storage capacity. The sediment is a direct effect of the 2020 North Complex fire and erosion from the February 22-23 winter storms. Both federal disasters like the Lake Madrone Water District received all the necessary permits required by California Fish and Wildlife, EPA, and FEMA. Now, only halfway through the project, the Army Corps of Engineers and the Regional Water Control Board have shut down the project, claiming the district is in violation of threatening U.S. waters with non-existent full material and threatening to pull the FEMA funding. Will you please get to the bottom of this gross overstepping of federal power, and assist Lake Madrone Water District with resuming the removal of 100,000 cubic yards of sediment to the lake so that we can have the storage capacity of 200 acre feet for much needed fire suppression.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Lake Madrone, we've focused a good deal of effort on that, trying to help people get through the permit process, have the federal agencies involved pay attention. And that's the thing, they slow walk the permit process. We had to get on conference calls with me on there saying, what are you going to do to help move this process along? Army Corps is a very frustrating organization because, and as you say now, you're halfway through the process, you have been permitted, and some artificial timeline comes in to say, oh, you have to stop because it might affect the waters of the United States. Well, that WOTUS rules was the water, WOTUS, waters of the United States. That's a prime example of the executive power that was way beyond control, that makes the federal government and the Army Corps and EPA and others, they want to be in charge of every mudpool, every small stream that might run water for an hour after the rain. In this case, you get caught up in that as well, because that lake really belongs to the people up there. It shouldn't be deemed as a water in the United States that they're concerned about. Now, if bad things are going on with chemicals, certainly. You're simply trying to restore the lake to what had happened before the fire, and we will be glad to help you on that and move along the Army Corps. At the state level, with the Water Control Board, underlying control, you'll need help from your state legislators to prod those guys and make sure that they behave a little better on helping you instead of harming you for the work that needs to be done there at Lake Madrone. And the very free areas well partnered. And so, and there is things in motion on that as well. So we won't forget, we'll be on it. We want to help. Thank you.
So I wanted to tell you, Congressman Doug LaMalfa, as a former county employee, you have to have a social security number to get Medi-Cal, SNAP benefits, or CalWORK benefits. So you and your ilk saying illegal immigrants are getting benefits is not true. Also, I would have to say, I was very angry last year during the Los Angeles fires when you were at Mar-a-Lago kissing the ring. President Trump posted a photo on True Social of you and several others while Los Angeles burned. How dare you!
Do you know how freely available Social Security numbers are?
My name is Wayne Shams. I'm a resident here in Chico. I'm going to read to you a note that was sent to me by Rob Bonta. This week, my office released a new report that lays out the scope and impact of our fight to protect California from the Trump administration's unlawful attacks. For the first time, we have tallied exactly what we have saved for our state. More than $168 billion in vital federal funding that was cut and held hostage to California because Trump doesn't like Gavin Newsom. And apparently you don't like Gavin Newsom, and I'm tired of you making the negative comments about him. He is a good leader, he has faults, just like you do.
Okay, so we have a question over here.
Chuck Mahar from Chico, California. My daughter asked a question a moment ago, and I had one formulated that I already know the answer to. So I'm going to say, a July Economist/YouGov poll found that 79% of Trump voters believe the government should release the Epstein files, and that 52% of those polled thought the government was covering up evidence. What is your position on the Epstein files? And furthermore, both of my parents served in Vietnam. They both sought care at the VA on the East Coast for years. Everything worked flawlessly, no reason to cut it. Accountability seems to be just fine. And my wife is a teacher of 28 years, and we're tired of the vilification of the public education system and teachers who are doing their job to raise good citizens in this country. My wife is not having drag queens in her classroom. They are not indoctrinating the youth. They are teaching, and they don't make enough money, and they're doing their job. Get off their back.
My wife taught publicly for several years as well, and all she wanted to do was teach, not have crazy mandates coming down that made her job harder to actually do the 3 hours with the kids. So if we're not paying attention to the stuff that's being brought in that's offensive to families, and the stuff that's getting into the libraries, then we're not paying attention.
If you want the answer,
It's interesting, the Epstein situation was not an issue during the Biden administration. We need to have very clear transparency on what was going on with that Epstein situation. For minors to be victimized down the line or in any fashion, victimized, whether it's in bathrooms or whatever, we need to have protection for all that. So yes, I'm hoping by the end of this August recess that we get back in September, the information will be available to us. Because there's actually two chunks of information that are being held by judges on that are being released. There are grand jury reports. Grand jury reports traditionally have had the ability to have the sanctity of being able to be sealed. Now we need to be able to get this information out and get to the truth of what's going on. So we're very interested in the Epstein file. It's a bad look to have this information continue to be suppressed. But there's also people involved in the way those files, at some level, need to be redacted. So okay, so in those files, also innocent names are in there too. So you need to be careful with how the names and some of the information that will lead back to victims are put out there. So really, it's good. The wheels of legislation and justice don't always move as fast as you like. But hopefully in September we can get back and we'll demand eventually that this information gets out properly handled, protect the innocent victims in their information. Okay?
My name is Jennifer Teague, and earlier I wasn't able to finish what I was saying. I was a teacher for 30 years, my husband 20. He also worked in road construction and farm labor camp as a youngster. And he paid into Social Security for a long time. So thank you for voting yes on HR 82, the Social Security Fairness Act. I know you opposed it in 2016 when my husband first retired, and I thank you for discovering that GPO and WEP unfairly penalize many American workers and their spouses. We're penalized in our beginning retirement years over $100,000 because of that we'll never see. So I thank you for listening and actually changing your mind from what you had in 2016.
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Terry Brennick. I'm a Chico resident. I just have one comment to say, and thank you for being here, by the way. Thank you for this. But I just want to say, please stop blaming Biden and Biden's administration. It was not perfect. There's definitely issues. There's definitely problems on both sides. But please stop blaming Biden.
Okay, we have a question over here.
Good morning. My parents were Holocaust survivors. I have known what an authoritarian fascist government looks like since I was 7 years old. Manzanar, the Japanese-American relocation camp, is just a short drive from here. Earl Warren was governor of California and approved the relocation of Japanese Americans to those camps. He spent the rest of his life trying to atone for what he did in those years in the 1940s. People being kidnapped without arrest warrants, without trial, without recourse by the President of the United States ICE armies is clear evidence of how a fascist authoritarian government works. We are not headed towards authoritarian fascist government. We are already there. 20 years from now, when history will be rewritten yet again, the real question is, will the name LaMalfa be mentioned in the same sentence as Goebbels, Mengele, and Trump?
I predict no.
Hello, my name is Michelle. I'm a resident of Chico. The first thing I'm going to address is you keep on bringing up that the Biden administration could have released the Epstein files. Ghislaine Maxwell was appealing her case, and the judge sealed those files, so that could not happen. The other thing is that these victims of Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell have been struggling to get justice, and it keeps on being pulled out from under them by Alex Acosta, by the Trump administration, continuing to not give these people justice. Now, they've moved Ghislaine Maxwell to a sweetheart campus in Texas to try to get her to say nice things about the president. And that is incorrect. She needs to still get her time and be held accountable. You all left the Speaker of the House released you guys so that you didn't have to deal with releasing the file. And that's not right either. And also, quit scooping up people off the street and out of their jobs. You're getting citizens and you're getting people who are trying to meet their requirements to become citizens. And it's not right. Those are not criminals. They're not gang members. They're just working members of our society.
We have a question over here. Hi, Mr. LaMalfa. I have a very simple question for you. Do you believe that elected officials who knowingly protect and enable criminal behavior, including insurrection, fraud, and sexual abuse, should be removed from office? I'm talking to you, look. If yes, why have you not publicly condemned members of your own party accused of these actions?
Everybody should be held accountable, whether they're elected or not, if you've done an illegal activity. And you get, the lady was talking about due process, right? Due process for Ghislaine Maxwell, due process for the people of January 6th, due process for when they're found guilty, if it's an elected official, if they're found guilty of that, boom, down the road. That wasn't a good answer? So after due process, you should not be, and you found guilty, removed from office? That's not due process. Are people for due process? Okay. Anybody accused of something is allowed to have a due process, found guilty, you remove them from office.
Congressman LaMalfa, thank you so much for being here. My name is Sue Hildebrand. I want to just acknowledge that Governor Newsom recently announced that they are moving forward on the redistricting effort here in California.
they have very clearly stated that they are going to target our district. And it makes sense that you oppose the redistricting here in California. In the initiative, the ballot initiative that we will vote on in November, it clearly states that if Texas goes ahead with redistricting, then California will. And so my comment is, I really hope that you oppose all mid-decade redistricting and not just ours here in California, because your seat is on the line. Thank you so much.
My name is Nancy Mendoza. I think you knew my husband now. Nancy Mendoza. My husband was Mel. He was a Democrat. Funny that you would think that he's a farmer. He's passed a long time ago. Here's my problem. I'm a former Republican. My party left me. Here's my problem. You're asking us to not believe what we're seeing with our own eyes. You are asking us to agree to let January 6th just be a walk in the park. It was an insurrection. You did not vote to decorate or recognize those fabulous men that were trying to protect you. Everything that comes out of Trump's mouth is what I make my decisions on in my belief system. Not CNN, not NBC, but we cannot believe what comes out of your mouth.
Oh, Nancy.
We have a question over here.
First of all, thank you for meeting with your constituents. I appreciate that. My name is Rob Davidson. I'm a volunteer at KZFR Community Radio. I'm going to follow up on the comment about public media. You voted to rescind funding for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, funding that had been approved for 2 years. I know that your focus was to go after PBS and NPR because of a perceived slant. If you check the media bias chart, actually NPR is more centrist and balanced. But what also happened when you voted to kill the CPB was you affected community radio and nonprofit public media radio stations and TV stations throughout the North State, including communities like Pupa and Redway Reservation and Rancho Rio lands, where in some cases the funding will kill those stations. There will be no more public media, no more community radio, no more community TV, no more access to information. My question to you is, number one, why did you vote to kill the CPB? And number two, what are you going to do to help assist the dissemination of information? For example, during the Camp Fire, the Dixie Fire, and the Thompson Fire, stations like KZFR were broadcasting evacuation information, getting word out. Some of those stations have been obliterated. What are you going to do about that?
Well, the people have many, many choices to receive media. Look at the massive amount you can find via streaming, via many, many venues. So, and yes, it was all encompassing in one bill. Now, I could be sympathetic towards carve-outs for those, very rural stations like that aren't tied back to the level, because they are biased. They're very biased. The authority goes, they are not balanced at all at the high level. At the local level, I appreciate the work. The bill was either all or nothing there. You had to vote for the whole bill. So I would be certainly sympathetic towards finding carve-outs for the local state like you talk about up there and work on that, okay? Contact us.
Any comment? Step forward.
The comment line seems to be running short here.
Oh, really?
No, you'll have plenty of them.
Okay. Excuse me, I want to ramble through my comments here, but I'm just thinking about what the hell happened on January 6, 2021. And I remember just going to like a Toastmasters meeting that day, and like the talk of discussion was like, oh wait, there's historical events going on today. A large mob of people outside the Capitol, most of them peaceful, but the ones that are of most concern, the ones who are actively storming the building, violently pushing through the Capitol Police, and were one security line away from entering the Capitol chambers and putting yourself in danger. And everything else aside, all our concerns, our frustrations, I imagine that must have been terrifying. And also, I wanted to sense a question I have for, well, not a question, comment, but if I were in your shoes and thinking, my boss had just sent this angry mob, it could have killed me, I'd be asking myself, why the hell am I still supporting this man? If you are in too deep and you need help getting away from the spirit of this is a serious question. It's like, if you need help, like, pulling away from everything that's going on, please.
We can help.
Therapy.
Reach out.
My name's Sherry Gillis, and my question is, that there's supposed to be about 300,000 children missing in the United States that have been sex trafficked across the border. President Trump says that they found about 10,000 of them. Is there any more information on that?
We're going to break the question comment line rule. Okay. Is there more information? It's an ongoing effort, and indeed, every time we find even one that's been on that list, it's a win. So find tens of thousands of them. It's horrendous how it's allowed to happen because of our porous borders. And so we have accountability for who the kids are, and that they don't keep being used as pawns in that border scheme to bring people across and have them be fabricated families, for example. So, thank you.
We have a question over here. Congressman, my name is Rich Ogre from Chico. My question probably should be, why are you part of this movement toward fascism?
Stop right there.
No, I haven't finished my question. My question actually is, if you're not here to either announce your resignation, why aren't you here to apologize to the farmers of the North State because of your support for the Trump tariffs? Why aren't you here to apologize to North State farmers?
You either, thanks. You want to talk about something productive? This grandstand, huh? So, our almond growers, our walnut growers are having a very difficult time. The walnut guys did a couple, 3 years ago with a very tough crop towards the end of the summer there. We worked hard to help have that crop be taken through the process, get off the market here, but we need to do much on tariffs with India. India has been tariffing against our nut growers. You talked about tariffs. India has been unfairly tariffing against our agriculture for a long time. Okay? And so it hasn't worked in negotiations so far, so I guess if you hit the reset button on that by saying, all right, we will duplicate yours until you want to come to the table. We've seen that happen on several other countries that the tariffs have actually come back down because they finally have come to the table because the president has been bold enough to do something about it.
That's your job! That's your job!
And you're a little loose with the word fascism when there's plenty of it going on the other side.
We're almost nearing the station here where we all get to get off the train. Comment?
Hello? My name is Diana Robinson. I'm your constituent. And I'm wondering about President Trump's really apparent mental decline. Just
can't even stay on the subject when he's speaking. He goes from being asked a question about tariffs to talking about they're eating the cats and dogs. He is very, very obviously in just mental decline. And I'm wondering how long the MAGA Congress is going to continue to support everything this madman comes up with, because he is just like twiddling his thumbs now. And support every single thing that comes out of his mouth.
The nice lady asked me not to talk about Biden's conversation.
Okay, we have another comment on that side?
Yeah, my name is Nancy McHugh, and I'm really appalled that a privileged white male like yourself voted for the Vote Act when there's no evidence of illegal voting that will essentially disenfranchise millions of women who now have to prove that their driver's license matches their birth certificate name when they took their husband's name, married name, and that is just, in my opinion, the smallest man in the world.
This is Dr. Kathleen Kaiser. I've been teaching at different levels, mostly university levels, since 1972 in this area. Today is the first day back for educators in the local area. And the cuts the federal government has made, we don't know if we have enough money to feed the kids in school. They don't have enough money for their medical faculty that work with kids when they come in from the playground, sick or injured. And the context of this is public education is critical to our country. So what are you going to do to reinforce public education right here, which starts in 1 week?
Public education needs to be focused on what the children really need, and that's focusing on how to be competitive in a difficult world job market. You see many coming over from other countries to take some of our high-level positions. They need to be focusing on the so-called 3 R's, the reading, writing, arithmetic, and be proficient at that. The proficiency levels, especially in the inner city schools, like the Unified School District, what are the reasons why are the proficiency levels so low down there? They're not focusing on what would be helpful directly towards the kids. And so we have all these other ancillary things going on that are, well, what do you get started on? They just start a whole other thing. But there's things besides, you know, when we're talking constantly about climate change, constantly about the state spends over half of its $300 billion budget on education too. You believe Sacramento is clear on how the dollars are affecting and how they're getting there? Take away the mandate for hamstringing what my wife felt as a teacher. The hamstring, even though that was a number of years ago, to make her job more difficult, where the union representative said, hey, what's the file agreements to make everything go slow down? So, you know, it's just not geared towards children being successful, but said more what unions and stuff want. All right, we're hitting the timeline here, so we're going to do a couple more comments, okay?
Hello?
Fair warning, we're hitting the timeline, okay?
I want to touch on 3 things. The overriding theme of what you had to say, to my understanding today, has been a lack of accountability, and instead the continual comments of, let's take the Gaza genocide, for example. It's okay to kill the kids because somebody else who's not a child went into Israel and broke up a music festival and committed a horrific act. And that is okay. Going after Hamas, it's okay to have all of this ancillary collateral damage. So
I'll give you extra time. I'm going to go ahead and comment. I'll tell you that, okay? When Hamas initiated that against innocent people, I'll come back to you, okay? Hamas initiated against innocent people. When Hamas built their terror cells, when they built their missile launching facilities underneath the hospitals, the schools, the people that are innocent, and nobody wants this to happen. Nobody wants this to happen. They literally comes in. They seize it as it comes in and market it and do something else with it. This lies empathy of Hamas and their terrorist activity here. Israel bends over backwards to try and help innocent.
I also have a rhetorical question. You said very clearly that if due process resulted in a conviction, that somebody should be held accountable. Due process convicted our current president of 44 felonies. And due process also convicted that woman in the Epstein thing of a lot of horrific things. And yet, under your watch, both of those people are being treated differently than what you said you believed in. How can you, I don't know.
Okay, so one final question. Yeah. Oh, you have one more? Sorry.
Climate change denial is falling. I have 2 or 3 grandsons, 2 great-grandsons, and I am so worried about their future. Also, climate change denial by what Trump is doing, rolling back green energy is allowing China to outpace us. It's going to hurt our economy. What's going on is nonsense. Thank you.
Okay, we have the final question.
Thank you for letting me talk. My name is Neil Graver. I am very concerned that the GOP is currently manipulating the voice of the voting people of the United States. We had a comment over here regarding the registration process being unfair or becoming unfair to women, and I'm totally against that. I think everyone should have a good, strong voice in our government. My question really right now is related to what's going on in Texas. The redistricting, are you in support of that? And if you are not, if you are in support of that, will you support redistricting in California to oppose that?
Well, for your opening comment there on the women's right to vote and register on that, nobody wants that to be deterred in any fashion. Indeed, go back to the history of the 19th Amendment and look at the voter rolls on that. It was overwhelmingly Republican support that passed the 19th Amendment through Congress. As well as 13, 14, 15 amendments. Nobody talked about that. That said, mid-decade reapportionment is bad form. And we've seen, for example, in North Carolina, a couple of occasions there where my colleagues don't know what district it is from election to election because they go into court and want to redo the lines based on racial issues, okay? So, for example, they're trying to concentrate voters so they guarantee an outcome of a particular race to win. Then they find out, well, too concentrated, so they want to split them up a little bit and redo the lines again. The example of Texas. Texas shouldn't be doing that. You know, but we don't find out if it's serious about it. No way. California shouldn't be doing this. It's going to start a grass fire all across the country. Every single state trying to change it based on a political outcome. Now, I strongly supported putting it in the hands of independent commissioners. Because I was a witness outside. I was in the elected back in 2001 watching how dirty that process was. Legislators putting their grubby hands on that process, drawing lines. At the time, it was called the Income Protection Plan here in California. So the voters approved 2 different measures to put the state legislative lines in the hands of the commission, and they added the congressional in the following election. I support that because when legislators do it, the opiate of power, of the ability to draw their own lines, gets really dirty. It's really dirty. So we should, and so California versus Texas is that they're going to be trampling the people's voice on those propositions in order to do a temporary defining an emergency. Okay, an emergency. Texas shouldn't be doing it either. I hope they stop. We're urging them to stop. But all the other states have the legislative authority to do that. Maybe the people of Texas, maybe the people of other states will put their own commissions in place in order to have it be independent of this massively naked political thing that's going on here. It's really ugly, and no matter which side of the aisle you're on, it doesn't look good. It doesn't give you more faith in the political process if legislators are to draw the lines merely to have an outcome for a partisan win. Okay? So I'm not going to support the California, I support the Texas. I don't support mid-decade redrawing of lines. I will not do it. Okay. We passed our time a little bit, so I appreciate all the comments here. I appreciate that in a constructive fashion that we can come together here. And so God bless you and keep you. God bless America. Thanks to our fellow Chico Police Department. We really appreciate you. Thank you, folks. Thanks to the Elks Lodge for hosting us here today. Go out and have a nice, cool day. We'll see you a little later. Thank you. God bless you. God bless America.